Oh, hey. Welcome or welcome back to the channel. This is our third devlog for the Poolrooms map. And this is going to be split into 3 parts. So first I'm going to show what's new in the Poolrooms here. Then I'm going to show off a mod that I'm making that's going to be incorporated into the Poolrooms, but also accessible much sooner. And then finally I'm going to talk a bit more about what's up next. You know, what I'm working on next for the map. So yeah, let's get into it, eh? Alright, so all the new stuff in the map is in this far back corner. So you can kind of see it all behind me right now. We've got new ventilation running throughout the corner as a bit of a 3D maze. And then we've also got new climbing routes all around here. It's like 3 new routes in total, I believe. So you've got one that's based on, well, I'll show you right now. These force grabbable holes that pull you away once you grab them. Very strongly back to the source. And then you've got this kind of total wipeout styled one where it's got these fists coming out. It's also got these timed holds where when you hold onto it, it starts counting down and then pops off the wall. And then we've got one more here. And it's all based on these levers, so you have to use your momentum to kind of swing to the next lever or hold or wherever you're going. So I'll give a quick demo of how these holds work. You've already seen the magnetic one. Timed one is pretty simple. You just hold on, you have a certain amount of time until it pops off, and then whether you're holding it or not, returns back after a while. The fists are pretty self-explanatory as well, of course. Knocks you off the wall if they hit you. And the levers. Now these ones are very fun to play around with, and we'll get to what this is all about in a minute. So this is kind of in the middle of the lever course. You've got this triple lever combo. You gotta try and swing between all 3 of them. Oop, and I was a bit late there. But if you get that one, you then have to launch and land on that hold. And the route kind of continues from there. So it's pretty fun. There's a lot of routes to practice on. And also, while we're here, I've just got this kind of neat little hideaway. Just made to be a relaxing little area. It's also got some clipboards with some lore for the map, so if you want to do a little bit of reading, come check these out later on. Oh, and before we get to the vents, there's one more thing that I forgot to mention, which is all of these climbing routes, I want the holds to be spawnable items. So you'll be able to just open up any map, grab your spawning tool, right? And I don't really have it in here, so just as an example, spawn it wherever you want on the wall, because it already aligns it automatically, and then it'll just stick there. Now over here, this is a perfect spot to show off the vents. So you gotta take your vent covers off, and it is pitch black in there. So we're gonna have to use, whoop, well there goes my spawn gun. I had one already anyways. So we're gonna have to use a new spawnable that I created to explore these. Let's see. There we go, the scan band. So this is basically a headband you wear, and it has a series of scanning lights going from the bottom to the top. Lets you see where you're actually going. Now this might be a bit of a tight fit. These vents just barely fit a crouching person. Let's see. Check out what's down here. Actually, yeah, I have to turn backwards so the feet fit. Whoa! Okay. And as you can see there's some hazards here as well. Now my goal with these vents is to eventually have an avatar that fits in them much more comfortably than the default ones. And part of the reason why that is, I'll go back over to this U-shaped vent that I have here as an example. You can just put this away. I've made some of these vent sections smaller than a person can fit. So let me get a camera here and I'll show you a good angle. Alright, so this is how low you can crouch in the game. And it maybe gets a little close, but there's no way that I'm gonna fit inside of this, right? So one solution, right, is to just use the ragdoll player mod, which allows you to press a button, flop to the ground. Some of the joints get a little messed up. It doesn't always look the way that it should, but it lets you crawl. So I can do things like reach in here, and get going. But that's not an ideal solution, because then what ends up happening is, well, you need a code mod first of all just to play whatever part of the map is going to use these small ones. That main maze over there is just big ones. It's easier to navigate. So I'm going to try and make an avatar that by default can fit in these vents, but maybe has from the shoulders up fairly normal human proportions, so you can still reach out, grab stuff, explore. It'll be kind of like a vent exploration robot in that sense, and I'll put some pictures on the screen because I've got a model in the works. Alright, so aside from all the climbing and vent stuff over there, there's also another small thing that I've been doing, which is I've learned how to use the prismatic sound effects script. And what that does is it plays a sound depending on the speed that something moves at. Which allows me to do awesome things like make that zip line rumble and scrape along, right? And this also allows me to do things like make these sliding doors rumble as I move them, or do things like when a door swings open, the hinges can squeak. And speaking of doors, this is going to lead us into the Destructible props pack, which is the next thing on our list here. And I'm mainly making them to use in my own maps, but I figured I'd make just a whole bunch of general stuff that'd be fun for game modes, multiplayer, just sandbox building in general. And this is going to be released as its own small mod, much sooner than this pool mod actually gets released, so you'll be able to try it out fairly soon. And right now these are the props that it contains. We've got a destructible wood door, we've got a steel door with a destructible window, and then there's also this kind of plasterboard wall that you can break. Alright, so I've grabbed some tools here to show off the destructible props with. First being the door. So the door's actually pretty cool because you can force grab the handle and use that to open and close it from a distance. You can also grab the knob and use your menu button to lock the door, and then grab it again and use your trigger to unlock the door. And then both the door and the frame can be fully destroyed. Now, of course, this sledgehammer deals an absurd amount of damage. So if you had something like a low caliber pistol, you'll see even a full mag doesn't get through the door. But if we aim for the doorknob, it deals bonus damage and breaks the door sooner. So one other cool feature with the door is if you wanted to, you could use the board gun. And so without even locking the door, you still can't open it. And if you were on the side, for instance, without the lock on it, you could board it up and someone could approach the door and try to unlock it, and maybe you have an ambush set or something, I don't know. You can get pretty creative with this stuff though. Now onto the metal one. Exactly the same as the wood one, except the only thing you can destroy is this glass here. And so if you're on the other side of the locked door, you can bust through the window and then grab it and open it. And then the plasterboard wall, pretty simple. It's just like a more simple version of the door, much more fragile. So you can easily run through these, drive through these. You could throw other characters through them. Let's grab some more. I'll actually show you a little example here. So one thing I've done as well is I've taken the debris and I've made it so that it doesn't collide with your legs or feet. It's only your upper body. And what that does is you don't get all tripped up on the little bits. As long as you smash the ones in front of you out of your way, you'll cleanly run right through the wall, door, or whatever you're breaking. Alright, so that's about it for the props that I currently have. What I want to do is finish up a few more things and then release the mod and keep updating the props mod as I work on it for the pool rooms, right? So the first version of this is going to have some sort of briefcase where you can choose a prop, and then press a button to deploy it, and there will be like a little hologram to show where it'll put it and everything. And so the idea with that is that you can make maps that give out these briefcases, and it'll be like a finite building resource. So you could have like a death match where you have 2 teams making bases, or you know, you kind of get creative with it basically, but avoid the need for someone to have to use one of these spawn tools and just have access to infinite building supplies, right? Okay, so with the props out of the way, let's talk about what's next for the map, and I'll just fly you around and show you. So the next main thing I want to do is, behind this wall, make a kind of control room. And this control room will let you do things like completely drain the pool, freeze the pool, change performance settings, like make the buoyancy more or less sophisticated, or even completely disable it. It'll also let you do things like fold out platforms with different games to play and whatnot. If we go over here, I'll give you an idea of what the view from it will be like. There will be a set of wide windows just above the zip line, looking out into the pool, so you'll be able to see it change as you change the settings. And then along the zip line here and the far wall, I'm going to have a few really small targets that you could shoot at as well. So it'll be like a control room, but also a shooting range. And so you have multiple reasons to use that space, basically. Now over on this side of the map, what I want to do is, from the hole at the end of the zip line going down, I want to make like a really large rope swing, and then have either like a winching or a thruster mechanism on it that'll let you really get swinging in any direction you want, and ideally be able to jump into like the center of the pool from swinging on this rope, right? Just an absolutely giant rope. Up here, what I want to do is make some sort of catapult that you could launch props or yourself from, and that way you could build your own structures in the pool or along these different platforms and launch yourself at them like Angry Birds style, right? Just completely destroy stuff that you've set up. This side here, what I want to do is have diving boards set up kind of here along the slides. Some targets for the long range shooting, of course. Maybe something else I haven't really decided yet. So once each side of these rooms has its own set of features, that's going to be the first version of the map, right? That's going to be the release. So you can kind of see this side is full of stuff to do already. This isn't going to have too much. It's mostly a control room, right? And then these are a little fairly complicated, but nothing too crazy. So I don't think that it's going to be too long until the map releases, at least compared to how long it's been being worked on, right? Like, I think this year is a pretty comfortable time frame for release. But beyond that, I mean, I can't give a more accurate date than this year, really. Alright, well, that's about everything I had to talk about for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you folks in the next one. Later.